We're live.
Hey now, Dr. Dan here. Great to see everybody. Thanks for joining us for our webinar. Got the band back together again. Excited about having students on campus. Not super crazy about the health metrics out there, but we have a plan and we are ready to go. So I'll introduce my team quickly. We can wave. For any of you who don't know who everybody is, got Assistant Superintendent for Personnel, Human Resources, Steve Seifries. Got Assistant Superintendent for Business Services, CBO, Chief Business Official, Karen Kimmel. Assistant Superintendent for Ed Services, Dr. Clara Finneran. Got our Director of Elementary, Laura Kintz. Director of Human Resources, Hallie Chambers. She's brand new, just stole her from Conejo. Chief Technology Officer, Jim Klein, running the show. And our special guest, who's super excited to be with us today, is a district nurse, Melissa Foster. Melissa, are you smiling or grimacing?
It's a smile.
That's a smile. Excellent. And we're ready to go. Fire at the slides, Jim. All right. Next one. So we are super excited to have all of our students on campus next week on the 18th, Wednesday. The same things that guided us last year are guiding us this year. What are our values? How do we make decisions? What are we thinking about? It's student, staff, and community safety. Obviously, we want to keep everybody safe. And of course, the quality and the effectiveness of the learning environment. And we know that being together and being in the classroom and being with the teacher is absolutely the most effective place to be. We all know that. We also realize that there are a lot of potential social emotional needs and support that our staff and students need. And so we've geared up for that as well. It's important for all of us, for staff and parents, to realize this is the third school year that we've had this pandemic for. And that's a big deal. You've got sophomores entering high school or seventh graders entering middle school who hadn't been on the campus yet. So that's something for us to all keep in mind. Let's go slow. Let's take care of each other. Let's be patient with each other because this is, a big deal. We're excited to be together, but of course the pandemic is not away and we have the Delta variant that we are wrestling with. So next slide. As I said, we're super excited about it. There's a picture from Lupin Hill Elementary with Principal Scott Foley and their mascot. Full day, in person, live instruction coming at you, gonna be terrific. Now, this is also the part of the program where I say we have to be flexible and things will change, and they will change. We were in the middle of a board meeting last night and the governor had new announcements during our school board meeting. So things will change. Things will change between now and the start of school next week. I don't know which they are. I've got some ideas and we'll do everything we can to look around the corner and get ourselves prepared. This is also where kindness matters and gratitude and appreciation matter. There will be bumps. There'll be challenges. We will give you our all. We are human. We haven't been through this part of it before. And I think we've proven ourselves battle tested. This is an amazing staff. They are hardworking and dedicated. Everybody has plenty of anxiety. We're all in the same boat. So let's look out for each other, be kind to each other, be patient with each other, lift each other up. And as always, the decisions we make impact all of us. So that's where we need parents' help on those weekends, those sleepovers, those parties, those birthday parties, those get-togethers. Let's be really smart about those. Let's not have them or have them in a super safe fashion outdoors, because what happens at home and happens on the weekends can impact the classroom. I'm all in on protecting our instructional environment. We're moving back to school nights to virtual, right? We're moving a lot of other meetings to virtual so we can maximize the protection of that learning environment and keep all of our kids and all of our staff in that classroom safe. Next slide. So there's always questions. Well, where do these orders come from and what are we following? We are following the CDPH, that's California Department of Public Health, that's the image in the middle, and LA County Public Health requirements, right? They've got a lot of recommendations and we look at all those recommendations and everything is on the table, but we are following their requirements right now. And of course the governor. So these three agencies really are calling the shots and we are bound as a public agency, and even private schools and private businesses are bound to follow their guidelines, guidance, requirements, recommendations. So if you want to reach out to them, there's emails there for you. Take a screenshot of it, take a picture of it, pull out your phone, there's phone numbers. Those are the folks who make 99% of the requirements that we face. And they are professionals, and they are public health professionals, and they are doctors and hardworking folks, and they are doing their best. The challenge with LA County is it's 10 plus, almost 11 million people, by far and away the largest county in the entire country. So things that happen here, we're talking about 10 million folks. So they're all doing their best, but that's where it comes from. So those are the agencies that call the shots for us and help us keep everyone safe. Next slide. Summer programs. Dr. Finner, take it away.
Thanks, Dr. Stepnowski. We are so proud of the summer programs that we had. So just really quickly, we had some elementary students that had some summer experiences. We had about 100 students participate in Find My Genius. We had about 100 students participate in LVUSD Learns. Find My Genius was in partnership with the YMCA. And then we also had 310 students with special needs that participated in our extended school year. Next slide. We also had secondary students. So those are students in grades 6 through 12. We had about 185 students complete freshman seminar, and about 269 credit recovery courses were completed. So really proud and thankful of our staff for participating in our students' growth over the summer.
As I said, first day of school, August 18th. Super excited about that. Looking forward to seeing everyone. We shared with everybody a family resource guide, which has lots of information in there. This presentation will also have lots more information for you. Jim will keep this up on the website so you can watch this anytime you want or reference it anytime you want. I know our principals are also going to be reaching out with emails and webinars as well. So lots more information in the coming days. We will keep you connected and posted. Next slide, Jim. We have a bunch of exciting new developments for this coming school year. Dr. Finner, do you want to celebrate these?
I am happy to. I'm worried about the volume on my computer. Someone was telling me it's a little low. Is it low? Do I need someone else to take over?
It's okay. You might be able to move a little closer to camera, maybe. I don't know. Jim,
Okay.
what are you hearing?
Sure. So we're so excited about our counseling that we have put into place. We have a full-time counselor available at each of our TK through 5th grade schools. So at each of our elementary schools, that means a full-time counselor. We've also increased our counselors at our centralized counseling center, which is located here next to the district office. And then high school principals will be communicating a little bit later today about the counseling structure at our high schools, which is now specialized and broadened in terms of the number of counselors that we have. And there's an exciting way that appointments will be able to be made. So stay tuned for that. And LVUSDcounseling.org goes live this evening at 5 o'clock. Ms. Kins?
Yes, another exciting development for this coming school year is that we have added full-time art and music specialists at every elementary school. And this supports our social emotional learning, as well as the creativity in the visual and performing arts. And also it helps prepare our students for arts in secondary, middle school and high school as well.
Next slide. This is you, Jim.
All right, so as you know, our teachers made incredible strides with technology last year. They had to learn a lot and grow a lot, and they've done amazing work with that. And we're thrilled to be able to continue to provide that those technology skills as part of the education of your students. This year, we're continuing on with all of the learning programs that we invested in last year, so that teachers continue to use those to educate kids. And we are making some improvements as well. We are boosting our internet access at all of our school sites by almost 10 times. So as we are expecting a lot more technology use on campus this year, we're going to make sure that we can accommodate all of that. We're adding iPads for our K through 2 classrooms, new laptops for kids in 3 through 12, and we're very excited to see all these developments materialize to make the education environment the best it can possibly be.
The pipe out to each school, Jim, is 1 gig now?
It is currently 1 gig. Within the next 3 or 4 days, it's going to go to 10.
Love it. Jim's also working on some enhanced technologies for the classrooms. I know our principals have that for our elementary teachers, I think, to check out in the next coming days. So that'll be exciting development. We'll get more information out about that soon. Other developments, we have added 3 instructional days to the school year. The first and last day of school have not changed. No changes there whatsoever. So those additional days of instruction are awesome and beneficial for us and allow us to, start easy, go slow, build those relationships. We want our students, to be building a relationship with the teacher and teacher that relationship with the students, and then that content will come. We have also, as we mentioned earlier, intervention specialists at each of the secondary schools as well. One of the common questions that I've tried to put the FAQs in here, frequently asked questions, is Virtual Academy still available? It is not. It was when the pandemic occurred. It was flexibility the state gave all school districts as we moved to online instruction. So they gave us a great deal of flexibility. To be candid, I try to keep these real, and I'm going to be direct and I'm going to be blunt at times. The governor did away with that level of flexibility to encourage and move schools back on campus. We were the first in LA County. There were a lot of schools that were slow to return to on-campus instruction for a whole bunch of different reasons. The governor was under a lot of heat for that. And so as a way to help move us and to ensure that schools were in person this fall, that flexibility was removed. So our intention was always to be in person this fall. We want our kids and our amazing staff in the classrooms, but that option is not there. So you're not going to hear about a virtual academy at Conejo or Oak Park or Santa Monica, Malibu. The state took that level of flexibility away. But what they did do is require some enhancements to independent study. And we had already been moving at light speed for that. So next slide, Jim. We have our LVUSD system, or Las Verdes Independent School System. This is an option for K-12 students to work at their own pace. It is highly structured and highly supported. There's daily interactions for our K-5 students as well. Dr. Mike Roberts, our principal at AE Wright, has information about that. He's done a whole bunch of conferences, phone calls with parents. So his email's there, his phone number's there. His website there as well for a lot more information. If you want to reach out and find out if that's an option for you. I want to say there's about 70 in our K-5 program, about 30 in our 6A program, and about 70 in our high school program right now. Claire, did I miss anything on that?
Nice job. Covered it.
Vaccinations. All right. This is another topic that is everywhere. Of course, we strongly encourage all those who are eligible get that vaccine. And of course, we're super proud. We ran 4 vaccine clinics last year. There's a picture from one of them with several of our principals there and our student school board member. We helped get over 2,300 vaccinated. And of course, we are exploring vaccine clinics again when we have a vaccine out for 5-year-olds to 11-year-olds. Next slide. So some of the data about our community, how many people in our community are vaccinated? So here are vaccination rates. Our staff is well over 85% vaccinated. We're getting a lot of data about that and have a better number here real soon. That number could easily be over 90%. So that's exciting. We're way out in front on that number, and that's exciting. And I know our staff is taking that seriously. They've taken their health and well-being and safety seriously, their families and their students. Agoura Hills, Calabasas, Hidden Hills, they're all there as well. They're right in that 76, 77, 75 range. And then you've got the total number of vaccinated on the right. County of LA overall is around 72% vaccinated. So those are excellent numbers. So overall, our community is among the highest vaccinated in LA County and the state of California and the country, actually. So those are good numbers. Next slide, Jim. What about our students? So our students, 12-year-old to 17, and of course 18 as well, they're all eligible for that vaccine. They can get it, and their vaccination rates are even higher. This isn't data about our students necessarily, but it's students from the community. And you're at 79, 82, 94, and 75. So those are awesome numbers, and our students taking it real seriously. So we are excited about that. Karen, did I miss anything there? Next slide, Jim.
You got it.
All right, so I want to hit this point a little harder. the COVID vaccine is the best way to protect ourselves. So really, the difference between August 2020 and August 2021 is there's a lot, but the two biggest, the first, of course, is the vaccine. We have the vaccine in place. This time last year, I was just joining a vaccine trial. So we have it. We have 3 vaccines, and they are highly effective, as you can see those numbers in the middle. The other thing we know also is surface transmission. LA County officials, Dr. Gilchek, shared with the team just last week. They have no instances of surface transmission in LA County over this entire pandemic. That is huge. We're still taking cleaning protocols very seriously in our classrooms, but that is a critical piece in all of this. And so 2 big pieces of information for us. So we know the vaccine is safe and effective. So unvaccinated individuals in LA County account for 99.6% of cases, 98.7% of hospitalizations, and 99.8% of the deaths. And so that is compelling data for us. We know unvaccinated employees are at a greater risk of contracting and spreading. And of course, there are breakthrough cases, which we know as well. But that is some very impressive data and very heartening data. Next slide, Jim. Because of this, we want to protect our staff, students, and community, as I began the whole slideshow with, and we want to maximize and protect our instructional environment, our classrooms. We want to keep our teachers and keep our staff and keep our students in those classrooms. I have required vaccines for all of our eligible staff, and that's a big step. The governor has announced a similar move today as well. And eligible is a key word there. We will have an interactive process because there are circumstances where our staff have medical conditions and cannot allow them to take the vaccine at this point, and or the possibility of religious. So we will have a process to explore those with our staff, but just know at over 85% vaccinated, our staff take this extremely seriously. And this step also will move us even further along. And so appreciate that. Next slide, Jim. For our staff, 2 dates that are kind of important there. The first is Monday, August 23rd. For our staff that are not vaccinated, they will have weekly testing beginning on that Monday. And we've got a website up for our staff to upload their vaccination information. Real simple, take a picture with your phone and email it in, or cut it and paste it through that link. Real simple. I did it during the board meeting last night. Super helpful. Once the FDA approves the vaccine, that's when the requirement will go into effect. FDA approval of the vaccines may come any day. It's expected this month. So hopefully real soon. And then we'll roll out that 35 days. Why 35 days? You've got the Moderna vaccine, which is a 2-shot vaccine and needs 28 days in between. Pfizer is a 2-shot vaccine, needs 21 days in between. Johnson & Johnson, 1-shot vaccine, don't need days in between, but we wanted to allow for that window. So taking that really seriously, it's a big step there. As I said, the governor came out with something very similar just a few hours ago. A frequently asked question I get is, that's terrific, Dan. Awesome. We so appreciate staff taking that seriously. Now mandate vaccines for students. Who sets the vaccine requirements for students? The state of California. The state legislature does that. And as you know, there are 2 windows for that. There's kindergarten and 7th grade where we check vaccine status. So the state does that. The vaccine is in EUA status. It's not FDA approved yet. So EUA is emergency use authorization. So I don't see the state of California mandating an EUA vaccine. Once it's FDA approved, I think they will. I don't know how quickly they'll move. If you want to reach out to your Assembly member, Jesse Gabriel, or Jackie Irwin, or Richard Bloom, or our Senator Henry Stern, reach out to them. I've talked to them. I've encouraged them to move this forward. But that's where we're going on that. Any information we have for you, we will let you know. Did I miss anything there, Nurse Foster?
Nope, sounds good.
Excellent. Health metrics. So this one gives me some optimism. And this is sort of the leading indicator, and that is the infectious rate, right? And so it peaked several weeks ago at 1.45. Anything above a 1 means it's increasing. And since then, over the last, I guess that's early July, right? I think it was July 3rd or 4th, it has dropped. It's down to 0.108. So we want to get below that 1. When you see that green bar down there, back in February and March and April. That's where we want to be. That's a shrinking pandemic at that point. So we're getting close. So I'm optimistic about that. Infectious rate drives the positivity rate. Positivity rate's about flat now at 6.2. I would love to start seeing that come down as well. So this number gives me optimism. It has been decreasing and continues to. I mentioned no surface transmission, my source here. It's a website I go to every morning. Check out the numbers, covidactnow.org. Very reliable source linked into CDPH and LA County Public Health. Next slide. I think, Ms. Foster, if you want to jump on this one.
Sure, be happy to. So we're not asking that the families complete the Parent Square health screening this school year, or that our staff complete their daily screener, but we are asking that you do a check-in with how you're feeling every day before you come to school. And the things that we would be concerned about, of course, are the cough, fever, vomiting, diarrhea. Those are signs and symptoms that LA County has flagged as being COVID symptoms for our students. We would ask that you not send your child to school if they have those symptoms, and to reach out to your school health office just to let them know what's happening. As far as how are you going to be notified if somebody in the classroom is positive, if we find out, or when we find out that a student in the classroom is positive, we'll discuss with the teacher, that family, and find out who would be close contacts of that student. We will then speak to the families that are close contacts and then push out a wider notification to the whole school community to let them know that there is COVID on campus, but if you were a close contact, you are already notified. And then what would make you a close contact? People that are close contacts are within 6 feet of someone for more than 15 minutes, regardless of masking. So those students that are sitting around your student would be considered close contacts. And then a big hot topic from last school year, starting with Thanksgiving on, is travel quarantine. There is no travel quarantine currently, but we would encourage you to travel safe, potentially test after you return from your trip, and pay close attention to how you're feeling afterwards. Next slide. COVID testing will be available at all the school sites. We have some self-swab kits that we're going to use. We currently have a PCR test that we'll be sending off that's like a 24-hour turnaround, but we're moving to a quicker platform that will give us results in about 15 minutes. And these test kits will be available to both our staff and students.
I'll take the FAQ.
Perfect.
So this is where I issue another Dan Blunt alert. So the number one question I get is, LA Unified is testing all students. Dr. Stepanowski, you need to test all students. The blunt alert is LA Unified does not have a plan. But Santa Monica Malibu, they're testing all their students. I just talked to their superintendent 1 hour ago. He's a terrific gentleman. They're working hard. They don't have a plan. They're interviewing companies tomorrow. So we're rooting for them. I'm pulling for them. All in on that. I hope they can pull it off. LA Unified is short 2,400 staff members. If you saw, it was in the news today. I'm in close contact with Santa Monica superintendent as well. As I said, I talked to him today, picking their brains. If they have good ideas, we're going to steal, use, beg, borrow, and those kind of things. I will tell you also, last year we did asymptomatic screening. We were testing all of our student athletes, 2,000 students a week. It did not provide a benefit. It did provide a disruption. Students who were positive were pulled from games until they were able to retest or re-verify. And that was not a lot of fun. So I know folks want testing, but if we get a positive on them, they go home and they retest and they're negative and they're out for 5 or 7 or 10 days of school, it can very quickly be disruptive. It's on the table. Everything's on the table. I really try never to say never. We're watching Santa Monica and LA Unified closely. We are ramping up testing. We're going to be starting, as I said earlier, August 23rd with testing of our unvaccinated staff. And we may move forward. I know I've had a number of staff reach out and they're very interested in testing for all staff, because certainly vaccinated people can become infected, the breakthrough cases. But we really want to get this testing moving right. There's a brand new testing protocol we're bringing in. Melissa Foster was just on a training for it, so we're getting our staff up to speed. So once we do a smaller amount of testing on our unvax staff, testing all of our staff is a possibility. Moving in students is a possibility, but asymptomatic testing of groups of folks is not the benefit that many might see it as. but it's on the table. I am not saying no. Team, did I miss anything there? A big challenge of it also is how to do it, right? Who's doing the testing? You've got 5-year-olds. Can 5-year-olds self-swab? I don't know that our kindergarten teachers want to self-swab 24 students. So the testing could easily take an hour. Now, at high school students, it would be a lot less. It can be quickly. Our student athletes obviously got good at it and quick at it, and it moved along much faster. But it's a bit of a challenge for our elementary students. So we'll continue to monitor. It's on the table. Everything is on the table for us. This is a huge slide also. I want to emphasize this one. Asymptomatic vaccinated students and staff do not need to isolate or quarantine. Okay, so if you are exposed, you can stay in the classroom. Do not need quarantine. Now, I know our students 11 and under are not vaccinated. This is not an option for them. I understand that. We hope that we get those student vaccines as soon as possible. But if you are a student athlete or a performer or our staff members, we want them in the classroom. If they're vaccinated, they do not need to quarantine. So that's a huge difference. Now, that is a requirement LA County has layered upon us. I don't know any other county that has picked up on that piece yet. They may. So far, the entire state has followed many of the decisions LA County has made this summer. So that may pop in other counties, but that's a huge one. Non-vaccinated students and staff who are exposed will have to quarantine up to 10 days. If they test negative on day 5, they can come back after 7 days. So that is a big deal and a huge benefit to being vaccinated. Melissa, did I miss anything there?
Nope.
Pretty important. Next one. Face coverings. CDPH never really changed their guidelines on this one. Didn't change their guidelines on this one. All staff and students and families, visitors, regardless of vaccination status, must wear face covering indoor. Face coverings are optional for outdoor activities. Physical distancing is not required. So CDPH had a decision to make, and they realized that not having students in class or not having all students in class had a very severe negative impact on our students, on their socialization, on their emotional health, on their well-being, and of course, absolutely on their learning. So CDPH said, if we keep distancing in place, schools cannot operate normally. We do not have enough space in our classrooms. And they said, we want all the students back. So the trade-off is we're going to require everyone to, regardless of vaccination status, to be in masks. So that's the trade-off, and I think it's a wise one. We will distance and separate the students in our classrooms to the maximum extent possible, inside and outside. But we are not bound by that 3-foot requirement. We can meet that 3-foot requirement in many places, or certainly something close to that. And where we can, we will do that. But that was the trade-off. So a question I get lots of times is, what about distancing? We can't operate normally, and the vast majority of schools across the state cannot operate normally. We cannot operate full day, full-time instruction with that there. So that's the calculus CDPH made, which I supported. Next one.
Okay, what is school going to look like when you're in school? The classrooms are going to be deep cleaned every day, and we will use the electrostatic cleaners for additional layer of disinfecting once a week. So we're finding a better balance between how much is being used in the classroom in terms of the chemicals versus the disinfecting. As Dr. Stepanowski mentioned earlier, there's really been no surface transmission of this disease. So this is something that we are able to keep the air cleaner for everybody in this process. With that, we've got really effective air filtration systems. We did install the UV LED systems in the ductwork of all of our air conditioning units. We've cleaned all the coils, replaced all the filters, custom, very highly efficient filters are used in all of our systems. Our doors are open during the school day, and the air conditioning system is being run 2 hours prior to the start of school to make sure that that air, when that first student arrives, has been recycled and is fresh for use for that day. In the classroom, we'll have stocked hand sanitizer, the antimicrobial wipes, and other safety supplies. Teachers will have available to them masks as needed, gloves as needed for themselves, or if a student soils a mask or something throughout the day. And we've got visitors and volunteers. It's going to look a little different than a normal year. They will be limited on our campuses. When a volunteer does come to school, we may have a few, say in the kindergarten classrooms, that we are looking to still have some help in there. They will have to show proof of vaccination to be part of our classroom experience. So that is something that parents will need to keep in mind as they look for the schedules for the upcoming school year. We're going to do what we can to be virtual when that makes sense. Things such as large volume events, such as back to school nights, will be virtual so that we can keep everybody as safe as possible. And when in person, we'll see if we can do meetings outside. And if they do need to be indoors, face coverings will be required.
As far as athletics go, our coaches and student athletes have already been hard at work this summer, preparing for their upcoming seasons, especially those who participate in fall sports. And as far as the safety protocols go, they actually mirror what we have in place currently. Whereas if you are outdoors, masks are not required for our student athletes, and that goes obviously for fans and viewers as well. And if you are indoors, as of now, we are requiring masking. We are waiting for additional guidance from the county. Last spring, for example, for indoor sports, testing was required. However, we have not yet seen that guidance. So as of now, outdoors can participate without a face covering. Indoors, as of now, we are requiring the face coverings.
With sports, I guess I want to emphasize one more thing, again, on the testing piece. For last year, we did test all of our student athletes, 2,000 tests a week, and we received a number of false positives. Students would go back and retest, and they would come up negative. So they may not have even been false positives, but conflicting test results. So again, that is the reason why I am cautious about testing all of our students at the same time. Again, it remains on the table something for us, but was not helpful to us last year. The other thing is, there was again a blunt alert from Dr. Dan. There was the white oak outbreak. So maybe you've heard about this, maybe you haven't. So first of all, White Oak is not open, so we weren't involved at all. But there was, I think, a gymnastics class or something like that where a bunch of students got together, and the students took home tests. The FDA has not approved any home COVID tests. So the results from the home tests came up positive, which scared the heck out of a bunch of parents. And they started emailing city officials and school board members. Then they went and took more reliable FDA approved testing. And they, so far, I think all, maybe Laura has more updates, all were negative. So home testing is not FDA approved, which means the reliability factor is way down. It'd be wonderful to have some FDA approved home tests. I don't know how close they are to coming, but do not count on them to be highly reliable or reasonably reliable. Melissa, did I miss anything there or anything you want to correct?
Nope, sounds good.
And Claire, you got it?
Yeah, sure. As far as extracurricular and co-curricular activities, of course, when they're inside, students will remain masked. And when they're outside, we will be largely unmasked, although with music, we do have to continue to use that recommended PPE, which protects our students from those droplets and things that are expelled when students are playing musical instruments or singing. So those classes and rehearsals will continue outside.
Next slide. Okay, elementary school. You got it, Laura?
I do, yes. Elementary lunch and recess. And also reduced class sizes in 4th and 5th grade. We have hired more teachers so that our class sizes are lower than a typical school year. Lunches and recesses will be staggered, so that will spread the kids out. And kids will be sitting in their classes at lunchtime. So it's going to be more controlled than it has been in other years. And face coverings required outside. Right now it's optional, as others have mentioned, but we are taking extra measures, like I said, staggering the recesses and lunches. And also for those once a week outside assemblies, we are going to be asking students to mask for those, and even though they're outside.
Got it. So I want to emphasize some points here. One of the questions and concerns I've had is that we're treating elementary school like middle school and high school. We absolutely are not. We've done a heck of a lot, and I'm very excited to have done a heck of a lot for elementary school. And that is we've reduced 4th and 5th grade. We've hired 9 teachers to reduce our class sizes at 4th and 5th grade. Lunches will be staggered to spread the students out and reduce the number out there. As Laura said, they're going to be separated and distance, right? We want to make sure they're not on top of each other as well when they're out there at lunches. So that's exciting, along with hiring the full-time counselor and specialist for elementary school. So we're all in on elementary. We know the parameters there are different because there's not a vaccine for those students at this point. Face coverings, probably, again, one of the top questions I get. What about requiring face coverings outside? They're not required by CDPH or LA County at this time. Transmission rates are 20 times lower outside. We want the students to have a break. Wearing a mask for 7 hours or so is certainly challenging. We're also strongly encouraging our teachers to bring their classes outside, to do some instruction outside as well. So those are the factors there. Again, things can change, guidance can change, or our experience may change. That's the way we're heading into the school year, and we're going to give that a shot. A lot of this is balancing the safety and health protocols, and balancing the effectiveness of the learning environment, and knowing our students and what they can handle, that sort of thing. So our students have been amazing and resilient, but that is where we are. Laura, did I miss anything?
No, that's good. Thanks.
Next one.
Okay, I'm excited to share that we have a grant for the new school year, and all students will be able to receive school meals without cost next year or this coming year. There will not be a need for the traditional application process for eligibility. Everybody is going to be able to just go through the cafeteria line, grab a lunch, and they get checked out, and it should be quick and easy, and really a great service for all of our students. We will ask or all of our families to fill out a really quick survey in a couple of weeks. We'll have to do an income demographic survey for our population to secure some state and federal funding, but it will not be tied to the food program this year. So that's great news for everybody. And in the spirit of having some normalcy this year, we're going to be running buses on a regular schedule. Some of the precautions will be that the buses will be required to have the windows open at some level throughout the bus run. Everyone will have to wear a mask on the bus. And other than that, we should be able to be pretty much business as usual. So we're looking forward to doing that. We have a user-friendly new bus pass system that is available on our website. So hopefully families will be able to access that and find what they need there.
Laura, you got this one?
Yes, thank you. So one other thing that we're really excited about this year is our new Family Resource Center, and it is housed over in M3 on the AE Wright campus. And it's a centralized location that will offer support to our families who are culturally and linguistically diverse and students. There are many resources available in multiple language, and one-on-one support to help families navigate things like the ARIES portal and resources, digital resources, curriculum-based resources such as LexioCore 5 in elementary as well as others.
Is that the last slide?
It is.
Holy smokes. All right. I hope everyone in the viewer land is okay. There's appointments available at our counseling center. So great website, a resource for you to have. Take a shot of that, a screenshot of that as well. All right, Jim, you can shut down the slideshow. All right, team, what did I miss? Anything? again, things can change. Things will change. Forget the can. Things will change. We may get more guidance on sports. We'll see how that's going. I know we've got football scrimmages this Friday and games next week, so we're excited about that. Looking forward to a great year. A lot going on, a lot on everyone's plate. But I really do appreciate this staff, and they're phenomenal to work with. They're an inspiration every day. My senior leadership team, you've got the best cabinet out there. They are on top of it, gathering information, stealing all the best ideas we can and implementing them here. We always give credit, of course, when we steal ideas, especially from other districts. We're excited to have everyone back. Next Wednesday is going to be a day of celebration, but of course we know there's anxiety as well, and we want to ease into all of this. We've got those extra days of instruction there for that. Nurse Foster and team are amazing. They did Herculean work last year for us, and they are committed and treat every single one of our children like their very own, and they do a phenomenal job of communicating out. So we'll stay on top of it. You're going to hear more from your principals the next couple of days, and if there's any breaking or changing developments, we'll get that information out to everyone as well. Also, special appreciation for the school board. We had a long meeting last night, and they are laser focused on safety for staff and students and protecting that instructional environment. So we appreciate them and all their countless hours on this as well. Everyone have a great night. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll see you all in action